In eastern Ecuador, where the Andes slope toward the Amazon plain, a river valley called the Upano Valley cuts through dense jungle. From above, it looks like nothing but an endless green canopy. For centuries, scholars called this region pristine wilderness, untouched by civilization. Only small nomadic tribes had lived here, that was the consensus, and nobody in the field seriously challenged it. Then in January 2024, a team from France's National Center for Scientific Research published a paper in Science that upended everything. Using LiDAR mounted on aircraft, they scanned the ground beneath the canopy. Over 6,000 rectangular earthen structures emerged. These artificial platforms, each about 20 meters wide and 2 to 3 meters tall, sat in clusters of 3 to 6 around central plazas. Straight roads linking them ran up to 25 kilometers, flanked by parallel channels, likely used for water management. Population estimates range from tens of thousands to several hundred thousand. Radiocarbon dating placed the network at roughly 2,500 years, old over a millennium older than any complex society previously known in the Amazon. One question lingered: how could a city this vast hide for 2,500 years? In eastern Ecuador, right where the Andes descend toward the vast Amazon plain, there is a river valley called the Upano Valley. Seen from above, it appears as nothing, more than a seamless green canopy of jungle stretching in every direction. For centuries, scholars described this region as pristine wilderness, land that civilization had simply never reached. The prevailing academic view held that only small, nomadic tribes had ever lived in the Amazon, and no researcher seriously proposed that cities could exist beneath this forest. That consensus was shattered in January 2024, when a French research team published a paper in the journal Science. Using LiDAR sensors mounted on aircraft, they had scanned the ground hidden beneath the Upano canopy. The results were stunning. More than 6,000 rectangular earthen structures lay below the green surface. These were artificial platforms, roughly 20 meters wide and 2 to 3 meters tall, clustered in groups of 3 to 6 around plazas. Straight roads connecting them extended up to 25 kilometers with parallel channels on both sides, believed to be water management canals. The population is estimated at tens of thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands. Radiocarbon dating placed this urban network at about 2,500 years old, a full millennium older than any other known complex society in the Amazon. But a central question remained unanswered: how did a city of this magnitude stay completely hidden for 2.5 millennia? The answer lies in the rainforest itself. Annual rainfall in the Upano Valley tops 3,800 millimeters, and the year-round average temperature hovers near 21 degrees Celsius. Under those conditions, tropical vegetation grows at a staggering pace. Abandon a structure and within decades, roots and vines will swallow it entirely, erasing every visible trace. The Upano buildings were made of earth and wood, not stone, so the jungle consumed them far faster than it would have consumed Maya limestone pyramids. When European colonizers arrived in the 16th century, they saw only what appeared to be empty, untouched forest. But one account survived. In 1541, a Dominican friar named Gaspar de Carvajal accompanied Spanish explorer Francisco de Orellana down the Amazon. He wrote that enormous settlements lined the banks so densely that a pin dropped from the sky would land on a human head, not the ground. For centuries, mainstream scholarship dismissed this as colonial exaggeration, yet the terrain LiDAR exposed beneath the Upano canopy matches Carvajal's description with startling accuracy. Researchers now propose a very different reading: civilization did thrive here, but European epidemics and violence caused a catastrophic population collapse among indigenous communities, and once the people vanished, the forest simply grew over everything they had built. The discovery was led by archaeologist Stefan Rostaing of France's National Research Agency. He began fieldwork in the Upano Valley in 1995. When fewer than 10 archaeologists worldwide studied the Amazon, peers warned him nothing would come of it, but he pressed on. Over 30 years of ground surveys, he found hundreds of mounds and excavated pottery, hearth remains, and charred seeds. The fundamental problem was that foot surveys in dense jungle could only map a sliver of the valley. The breakthrough arrived in 2015, when Ecuador's Heritage Institute approved an airborne LiDAR survey. LiDAR fires over 1 million laser pulses per second. from a sensor beneath an aircraft. Most are blocked by the canopy, but a fraction slip through leaf gaps and reach the ground. Software isolates those ground returns, digitally strips vegetation, and reconstructs the hidden surface with extraordinary precision. The team scanned 300 square kilometers. Rostaine was astonished. The hundreds of mounds he had cataloged were a tiny fraction of the reality. The true count topped 7,000 structures. 5 large settlements and 10 smaller ones. A pier linked by straight roads up to 15 meters wide and 5 meters deep. He described it simply, every day felt like Christmas each morning, revealing a new gift. Here is the first major twist: these were not primitive villages. At a site called Kilimopi, the largest platform stretches 140 meters long and 40 meters wide, comparable to the monumental core of Egypt's Giza Plateau or Teotihuacan's Central Avenue in Mexico. The road layout was even more telling. Major thoroughfares crossed at precise right angles, a geometry that cannot emerge from natural terrain and points squarely to premeditated urban planning. Ditches flanking the roads served dual roles during the wet season. They channeled floodwater as canals and at settlement entrances. They blocked access as defensive fortifications. Terraced fields had been cut into the surrounding hillsides. Residents grew maize, cassava, sweet potato, and beans. The furrows, just 20 centimeters high, show up crisply under LiDAR filtering. Excavated ceramic jars yielded chemical traces of chicha, a fermented maize drink central to ritual life. That signals a society producing surplus, processing food, and engaging in organized ceremonial consumption far beyond subsistence. The conclusion is singular: a planned urban network rivaling. The Maya existed deep inside the Amazon, and it was built at least 1,000 years before the Maya reached their classical peak. If this civilization thrived for a millennium, why did it suddenly vanish? About 70 radiocarbon dates from across the valley outline a clear timeline. The Upano people arrived around 700 BCE and started building monumental mounds by roughly 500 BCE. The cities endured for about 1,000 years, before being abruptly abandoned between 300 and 600 CE. Excavations uncovered a key clue at several sites. A volcanic ash layer 40 to 70 centimeters thick was embedded in the soil. The ash traces back to Sangai, a highly active volcano just 16 kilometers from the valley. The initial theory was simple: a catastrophic eruption smothered farmland, destroyed crops, and forced the population to flee. But there is a critical flaw at other dig sites from the same period. No ash appeared at all. If the eruption had wiped out the whole civilization, the deposit should be uniform across the valley, yet it is not. That contradiction remains unsolved. The mystery deepens further. After the valley sat empty for centuries, around 800 CE, a different cultural group called the Huapula settled on the very same mounds. They built nothing new, simply reusing existing platforms. By about 1200 CE, the Huapula vanished too. Whether any link connected the two cultures, and why both chose the identical site centuries apart, are questions without answers. The second twist is sheer scale. The Upano Valley is only the opening chapter. A team at Brazil's National Institute for Space Research compiled LiDAR data from across the Amazon and ran statistical models. Their estimate, 10,000 to 24,000. Pre-Columbian earthworks likely remain buried basin-wide. Evidence is already surfacing beyond Ecuador. In Bolivia's southwestern Amazon, a region called Llanos de Mojos, LiDAR revealed monumental settlements about 1,400 years old, featuring radial roads, concentric moats and ramparts, and cone-shaped mounds 21 meters tall. Building that caliber of infrastructure on a flood-prone savanna demanded sophisticated engineering. But structures are not the only legacy. Much of Amazonian soil contains Terra, Preta dark earth. Ancient inhabitants created it by composting food waste, charcoal, bone, and pottery shards over centuries, turning nutrient-poor acidic clay into rich, fertile ground. Terra Preta now covers roughly 154,000 square kilometers, nearly twice the area of Ireland. Today, bioeconomy startups manufacture biochar modeled on its composition, using it to restore degraded land and lock away atmospheric carbon. A 2,500-year-old farming technique is being reborn as a frontline tool against climate change.